Girls, in this video, we are going to see what is pollution and the types of pollution. This topic you have already learned from your 4th standard onwards, isn't it? So you know what do you mean by pollution. What is pollution? So pollution is nothing but the contaminants into the natural environment which causes the adverse changes in the environment, isn't it? If the water is contaminated, we can say it is a polluted water. If the air is contaminated, we can say it's a air pollution. If the land is contaminated by fertilizer, using fertilizers and other things, we can say the land is polluted. So, the contaminants into the natural environment which causes adverse change, isn't it? Sometimes, if there is a adverse change in the water, will kill the aquatic animals. And if we are consuming the goods which are produced in a contaminated land, it also affects our health. So sometimes it may kill the life, and it is also toxicity of environment, isn't it? It damages the ecosystem of our surrounding. So the pollution is nothing but the contaminants which affect adversely the natural environment is called pollution. We have 4 types of pollution already have studied. That is air pollution, land pollution, water pollution and noise pollution, isn't it? You have already studied. So what do you mean by air pollution? The 4 types we are going to study. One is air, water, land and noise. 4 types of pollution we are going to see in this lesson. First one is air pollution. The definition of air pollution is given by the Act 1981 Act. What is the Act says? This is the Act of the Air. That is the Prevention and Control of Air Pollution Act says that air pollution is the presence of any solid, liquid or gas substances which mixtured in the atmosphere, which mingled with the atmosphere. Those things may be tend to injurious to human beings and all other living creatures and also the environment. So, the harmful thing which is mixtured in the atmosphere. Atmosphere is nothing but the surroundings of the earth is called atmosphere, isn't it? So, if the solid substances or liquid substances or gaseous substances which is concentration in the natural or the atmosphere which bring the causes in the human being, all living things, plants, animals or in the environment is called air pollution. Here we have 2 types of air pollution. One is indoor air pollution, the another one is outdoor air pollution. So while we are cooking in the kitchen, we can see the smoke coming out from the while we are frying items. While we are in those days, they used to burn the firewood in houses. So the smoke from the firewoods, all these comes from the house is called, kitchen is called indoor pollution. Outdoor pollution, the things which are burning outside, isn't it? Sometimes we used to do that. In the garbage area, they used to burn the things. And even while they want to take the steel, while if they get any tires, the cycle tires, if they want to get the steel part, the spoke of the tires, what do? They used to burn the tire, isn't it? Only then they will separate the iron and the tire. So burning such things in the outside area, and also the other things which the smokes come from the vehicles, automobiles, factories, all things comes outdoor pollution. So the Pollution Act says the unwanted substances which is mingled in the air is called air pollution. Two types of air pollution, one is indoor and the outdoor. What are the causes of air pollution? Why the air pollution caused? So now we are going to see the causes of air pollution. The first one is vehicles, isn't it? Nowadays, almost all the houses, they have more than two. Minimum, they have two at home, the vehicles, two-wheelers. So, the plenty use of vehicles emit the smokes, isn't it? It gives out smoke. This smoke mingled with the air and causes the air pollution. So, the smokes coming out from the vehicles are carbon monoxide, isn't it? So, we have that while we are taking the license, they ask us to submit under the Vehicle Automobile Act, we have to submit the certificate that our vehicle is good for operating, it good at functioning. We have to submit the certificate, only then they will issue the license for the vehicles. Because the smoke emits from the vehicles which is very harmful to the human being. Not only the human being, all the people, isn't it? So, number of vehicles are moving nowadays. If you are seeing in the cities like Mumbai and Delhi, during the morning and the evening, peak hours we used to say, isn't it? During the peak hours we can see number of vehicles in the road. So, all the vehicles, they are emitting the gas, carbon monoxide, which is harmful. So, vehicles, they exhaust smoke. Then fossil fuel based power plants. For example, some fossil fuels are present. Sometimes we used to burn them to get the power, isn't it? Chemicals like sulfur dioxide, and while they will release during the burning process, they will also mingle in the air and it affects the atmosphere. So, this type of sulfur dioxide, for example, if you see in the crackers, while we are burning crackers, a lot of smoke comes out, isn't it? So those are all called oxide. Those oxide substances, they were very harmful. They will straightly attack or affect the atmosphere, the ozone layer. So which is not good for the environment. Those things which affects the ozone layer, which mixture in the outside on the clouds area, It also affects the clouds and it brings the acid rain, which is not good for us, isn't it? Which is not good for the environment. And then industrial smoke. While the urban due to the urbanization and the drastic changes in the infrastructure of the cities, urbanization, expanding. So, because of these things, in the industries, they are working hard to promote their production, and those machineries which emits a smoke also polluted the air. Big machineries we are using, isn't it? While if you cross the Tirunelveli area, you can see Sankar Cement, Ramco Cement, and if you cross that, we can see the smoke is coming out. They are big plant. So if they produce in a large amount of waste will come out. As we studied, isn't it? While we are producing material balance, we have studied. So this what we gives in, automatically it comes out. So the lot of smoke comes out from the industrial areas by using the heavy machineries and big machineries. And then construction and the agricultural. So while we are constructing a house, I don't know whether you know that or not, in the 2004, yes I think so, 2001, the WTO, World Trade Center, Twin Towers in New York, it was destroyed, ruined by the Arab terrorist. By the terrorist. They hijacked the flight and they dashed the flight against the Twin Tower in New York. It was a 150 floor building, I think so. 150 story building. While it was dashed against the 100th floor, what happened? Altogether, the 150 story building were demolished, destroyed. While it comes down, it was broken down. What happened? The entire area was covered with smoke, the dust. Because such a tall building, it's a landmark in New York. The very big building, when it was demolished or destroyed, ruined, the entire area was covered with dust and smoke. So, while we are doing the construction also, isn't it? While they are digging the land and other things, some harmful smokes are coming out, the dusts are coming out. They are mingled in the air. And then agricultural activities. While they are using the ammonia as a fertilizer, they too bring a harmful effect on the environment. And then using the ammonia in the agricultural is a frequent byproduct that happens a dangerous effect on environment. And natural causes, not only by the human being, sometimes the nature itself damages itself. Nature itself damages. How? By the volcanoes, isn't it? and sometimes the vast area like the Amazon forest and the forest in Australia and other things, sometimes they got fire because of thunder, because of lightning. Sometimes they got fire. At that time, the entire area which was covered with a number of trees, a forest, they got fire, and the smoke comes out from that mixture in the air atmosphere, and it causes air pollution. So that was not done by human being. That the nature has done itself. Then household activities. That what we studied in the indoor pollution, isn't it? The household activities. Cooking, heating, lighting, and while we are using the mosquito repellents, isn't it? Now we are having flash mode னு ஒன்று வச்சுருக்கோம், டுப்பாங் டுப்பாங் சொல்கிறாங்க. So while it is brings out, it will give you some smoke out. The coils, mosquito coils. And we are using this, so many things. Sometimes we burn outside, if we go have gardens and other things, we collect the waste things, the dry leaves, and we make them to fire. We keep fire, isn't it? Sometimes we will do that. So those are all household activities. From the smoke from that also affect the atmosphere. So these are the causes of air pollution. These things already have studied, even though I explained you again. And then you are going to study what are all the effects of air pollution. Till now we studied what are the causes, what are all the reasons. Now we are going to study what it brings, effects of air pollution. The first one is respiratory and heart problems, isn't it? The first, it affects the respiratory system of our human body. Sometimes we too feel that, isn't it? If you closed all the door, if you fry anything at home, sometimes you feel that coughing. So automatically it affects your lungs, the windpipe, breathing pipe, isn't it? It affects that. It affects the nose, and it also enters into our body. It affects the respiratory system and also the heart. And then global warming, isn't it? Because of heat. If you burn all the things, if the atmosphere get heat, what would happen? The glaciers were started melting. Last week in the news I heard that the famous Alps, mountain Alps, which was in Switzerland, it started melting faster than ever before. And there is a union, I think so, a group of people are there. Those are fighting for those activities, because nowadays it started melting faster than ever. So because of the global warming, nowadays we are losing our nature, which is gift, which are given by God. All the natural resources are starting depleting, it's decreasing. We are losing one by one. I mean, they have given the prediction that in few more 100 years, almost all the parts, the Himalayan glaciers will be melt. We couldn't find water. We are getting water. The rivers like Ganges, Yamuna and Brahmaputra are called perennial rivers. Throughout the year, the water flows, isn't it? The river flows. There will be a flow in water in the river. But nowadays, because of the global warming, the Himalayan glaciers are melting. At one point in 20 to 30 years, there will be no snow-capped mountain. They are predicting only because of global warming. The temperature increases, that is global warming. So because of the increase in the temperature, what would happen? Automatically all the glaciers will melt, the sea level will rise and it will cover the land. Almost 71% of the world is covered with water, only 29% only we have land. So if it is increases, automatically it will be decrease. So the global warming leads to the increase in the sea level. Then acid rain, as we studied, isn't it? The sulfur dioxide bring acid rain because using the nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides. So those fossil fuels, they bring acid rain which is harmful to the human being. And eutrophication. What do you mean by that? It is a condition where high amount of nitrogen present in the some pollutant which adversely affect the fish, plants and animal species. So the things which is highly nitrogenous content, high contented nitrogen, that is called eutrophication. And then effect on wildlife. So the animal, not only the human being, not only the nature, all the animals. We all, plants, animals, human being, all together we say that it is an ecosystem. So the entire ecosystem will be affected by the air pollution. Because the toxic chemicals present in the air can force the wild animal to move, change the places, isn't it? If the area is not suitable for them to live, to survive, automatically the animals, they move on to next places, other places. And then depletion of ozone layer, that I already told you, isn't it, nowadays? But thank God in the past 6 months, while we were in lockdown, they told, isn't it, the ozone layer was, the hole was covered because of, entirely for 3 to 4 months we never used our vehicles. We were inside our houses safe. We not only save ourselves, we also save our earth by staying home. So the ozone layer, it got hole because of the air pollution, the atmospheric adverse changes. So these things also affect the ozone layer. If the ozone layer is affected, what would happen? What is the seriousness? You should know what would happen. If the ozone layer is affected, the sunlight will directly touch our skin, the ultraviolet rays, which are not good for our skin, isn't it? So it covered the earth as a protector. We should protect the protector, isn't it? But they told within before 2 to 3 months, I heard the news that now the ozone layer the hole was covered because of the non-using of the vehicles for 2 to 3 months. And the last one is human health. How it has affected the human health. As we said, the first respiratory system is so the outdoor air pollution is the major cause for the death and disease globally. mostly the temperatures, the health, hospital admissions and emergency room visits, increased risk of premature death. That means 4.2 billion parameters. 4.2 billion premature deaths globally linked to ambient air pollution. So 4.2 billion deaths are happening only because of air pollution. See what a drastic death rate. Only because of air pollution. So it affects the human. We should be very careful. The current generation, the previous days, like when we were like you, that time the people, one who is having the two-wheeler or four-wheeler is considered to be a rich person. It is considered to be a luxury thing. But nowadays, once it becomes a comfort, now it becomes a necessary, isn't it? So the increase in the automobiles, only the main cause for the air pollution. So the WHO rated that every day 93% of the world children under the age of 15, they were breath the polluted air. Isn't it? We too, almost we are polluted, we are breathing the polluted air, isn't it? So that only the doctors are advising to go for a walk in the outer area in the early morning. And you should know how to control the air pollution. What are the necessary steps to be taken to control the air pollution? First one, the industries should be far away from the towns and cities. Once if it is inside the city, it affects the people. If it is far away from the towns and cities, in a vast area, the remote area, it will not affect the human being. And increasing the length of the chimneys. Do you know what is chimneys? In those days, all the houses, they have chimneys. The air which is, while we are doing anything, if we fry, if we burn anything inside the kitchen, the smoke will go out through the chimneys. Nowadays, we are living in flat system. There is no chimneys at all. In our house, we are keeping, isn't it? Ready-made chimneys are, nowadays, the modular kitchens, they have the chimneys. So, if we increase the length of the chimneys, it will not affect the human being. Also in the factories, isn't it? They used to keep a long chimneys. Through the chimneys only the smoke comes out. So if they increase the length of the chimneys, it will not affect the human being. Growing more plants and trees. We already studied, isn't it? The plants and trees, they inhale the carbon dioxide and they will give you the oxygen. So, if the air is polluted with carbon dioxide, if you grow more plants and trees, they will inhale the carbon dioxide and they will give you the oxygen, which is good for you. And then we have to use the non-conventional fuels. What do you mean by that? Like LPG, what we are using at home, isn't it? Liquid petroleum gases and also CNG, biogas, those things we have to use. So using non-conventional gases and then using the mass transit system. What do you mean by that? Instead of using, for example, I already told you, in each houses at least we have two vehicles, two wheelers. Instead of using the two-wheelers, if we use the public transport, we can control the air pollution. வீட்டில் 2 பேர் 3 பேர் இருப்பாங்க, 3 பேருக்கும் 3 வண்டி இருக்கும், 3 பேரும் வெளியில் 3 பேர் ஒரே இடத்துக்கு கூட சில சமயம் 2 வண்டியில் போவாங்க. நீ உங்கள் வண்டியில் வாங்க, நாங்கள் எங்கள் வண்டியில் போகிறோம். So that is not fair, isn't it? Instead they can use the transport, public transport. Using of the vehicles will be reduced. Thereby we can reduce the air pollution. So in this video we learned what is pollution, the types of pollution and the air pollution and causes, effects and the controlling measures of air pollution. The next video I will give you water pollution. Thank you girls.